Hi everyone, it's Dan, and I'm coming to you today from my hotel room in Manhattan, Kansas. And like most people, when you're in a hotel room, what do? You read a book. Well, I found this book while I was traveling. I stopped in Westport in Kansas City, and I found this book that I haven't read for 30 something years. Well, I just had to buy it, and it's the Death God Citadel by Juanita Colson. It's the only book of hers I've ever read, but she was a very prolific author in the 60s and 70s, and this was published, I think, in 1980 by Del Rey. Anyway, she's a Hugo Award winner, which I did not know. So it was fun to revisit her, and I really like this cover art. Isn't that neat? That's cool cover art. This is what caught my eye. This is the original cover art. This is a first print edition, so I had to buy it. I was in a used bookstore, saw this thing, I just had to grab it. So it's book two in the Cranton series, but you don't have to read the first book, and actually I never have. It's a standalone novel. It's just kind of has the same characters, but the whole structure of the novel makes it complete. You don't need to read the first book to enjoy this one. The basic plot of the book, without trying to give away any spoilers, is that there's a wizard. I'm going to butcher these names. I don't know if you've read books from like the late 70s, early 80s. One of the things you do is you just make up some sort of weird name, and that made it fantasy fiction or science fiction. And so I'm going to butcher these names. But anyway, so the wizard, it's about a wizard. His name's Tyrus, and his cursed friend, Erez, Erez Zan. And they're hunting the wizards. I'm just going to call him the wizard and the cursed dude. They're hunting the wizard's father, who is also a wizard, but he's a wizard king, and his name is Vrador. Vraduir. Anyway, it's a revenge story. So the father has done something that he wasn't supposed to do. He messed with a certain type of magic, which had a price, and now his son, who is also a wizard, and his son's friend are hunting him, seeking revenge. In the beginning of the story, they meet the Queen of Queret, and her name is Jethella, and of course her beautiful and innocent sister Elisa. Now, of course, I first read this book probably in 1983 or 84, and I really liked it. Of course, back then, I was a 14 or 15-year-old teenager. So on the second reading, I still enjoyed it. However, I found that it was really predictable and that it used a lot of story forms and characterizations that are really overused, at least in today, and maybe back when I originally read it, they weren't as used forms as they are now. But I was surprised that it had more of a romantic reading. It was almost like romantic fantasy than I remember it. So I think that would be one way to categorize it nowadays. And also, we didn't have a reading category of young adults back when this book was published. So today, I think if it came out new, it would be categorized as a young adult romantic fantasy novel. So it's not an earth-shattering book, but it's fun, it's clean, and it's a good little book for a rainy weekend. Now, just a word on the technical aspects of the book. Juanita Colson, the author of the book, she edited a fan magazine called Yandro for several years in the 60s and 70s. Again, she's a Hugo Award winner. I think between like 58 and 67 or something, she was nominated every year for a Hugo Award. So, and that shows in the way that the book is written. It's a very clean and crisp and technically quite well-written book. The structure of the novel hits all those design points that you typically associate with a good book. So, growing difficulty and doubt and little triumphs and little failures, and then the climactic events at the end, and followed by like a 2 or 3 chapter wrap up of the story. So this really helps make the book a quick read. So in conclusion, It was fun to revisit this book after 30 plus years. The Death God Citadel by Juanita Colson, published in circa 1980. It's a good little read book. If you wanted to, if you have like a niece or nephew who's around 13 and 14 years old, it's a young adult book. It would be perfect. It's very clean. There's romance in it, but it's not adult romance. So it's just got those themes in it. I like you, you like me, isn't that cute type of thing. So it doesn't go much farther than that. And I had a good time revisiting it, and I think you'll like it too. So I will see y'all next time. This is Dan from Manhattan, Kansas, signing off.